Hello, everyone. This is Heather with Build Lane, and I am going to be adding Jeanne Chung here in just a minute. Welcome to the second interview of our, because right now it's always happy hour or cocktail hour series. Jeanne Chung from Cozy Stylish Chic is going to be joining us in just a minute. I'm going to add her now, and we will kick this off.
Hey you.
Hi,
Hi,
how are
how
you?
are you?
Look at this.
It feels like it's deja vu all over again, huh?
Minus the three test, right?
Yeah, right?
We're total pros today.
Exactly.
I'm gonna try something really quickly. My phone is not been charging very well, so I'm trying to charge it while doing this.
Okay.
Does this make me go upside down?
You're upside down, so we're tete a tete.
All right. Not quite as tech responsive as I would expect from
That's
Instagram.
okay. That's okay.
Thank you so much, Jeanne, for joining us again today. There are so many people who I know are going to be joining us, so I think maybe before we really launch in, we can just chat for a bit. I've got my cozy
Yay! And yours looks a
tea
little,
right here.
and here's mine.
Oh, I definitely
Cheers.
a little heavier.
You know what? I went heavy on the grapefruit juice because I've got to work after this. So
I understand.
and this is really potent, so
Yeah,
I can easily just drink the whole thing and not realize
yeah.
it. And at the end of this live, I'll just be blabbering about.
Hey, that's what we're here for. I actually have to work after this too, so I'll be stepping into these sips gingerly, but it's so good. I'm really glad to have found a new cocktail
Yeah,
recipe. This is delicious.
yeah, it
I'm
is
curious to know
definitely.
how many people out there are checking out your recipe with us today. Um,
So
so I think we have quite a few people on. Most everyone knows who you are, so maybe we can spend some time. I'm going to introduce you.
okay,
And our topic for discussion today, and then that'll just allow a little more time for others
okay.
to join us. But this is Jeanne Chung of Cozy Chic Interiors.
So cozy, stylish,
Cozy
chic.
style, right? Sorry, cozy
Everybody
style.
always mixes it up, so it's
I'm
okay.
sorry about that. It's not even the cocktail yet, so
I
I'm
know, right?
confused. But this is Jeanne Chung, and we met, I guess, maybe a month ago. We first started chatting
Yep.
about doing some custom furniture pieces together.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so our relationship has developed over time. I knew that you were really involved with the Pasadena show house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know we talked a lot about that, and it was just so interesting. I wasn't really familiar with that whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just so happened that we were building a custom console for Christine Jahan,
Uh-huh.
right?
And
Yeah.
that's going in the entry. So it's going to be
Oh,
right there front and center because
perfect.
that's her spot.
Right.
So,
And I'm not,
yeah.
and she knew you and you knew her. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we've joked a little bit about how I think there's sort of the 6 degrees of separation from everyone who knows Jeanne Chung. um, but I'm
So
going
I'm told.
no, I'm going to kick off just sharing a little bit about your accolades for those who might be joining us who aren't as familiar with you yet. But Jeanne, you have been a designer with the Pasadena Show House for 2 years, I think 2017, 2018. Is that
Mm-hmm.
right? Right.
And we're doing a room this year for 2020. Well, it's supposed to be 2020, but because of the current situation, it had to be delayed.
Right.
We're still not sure exactly when that's going to be. It will happen. It will be, I think it's the 56th showcase house, Pasadena Showcase House. So they've been at it a long time. It's a
Right.
well-oiled machine.
Right.
And they've got definitely have a loyal audience who comes back year after year.
Right.
So it's just a matter of when it's going to be safe, and then it'll be rescheduled.
Right.
So
Right. For
yeah.
sure. Absolutely. But still, what an interesting topic. I think my interest was totally piqued, and I had a lot of questions, and I thought, well, rather than calling you up and us just chatting over the phone, let's open this discussion live. And I know
Uh-huh.
so many people who are curious. Um, Also, just a little bit more about your background. You've been an official style spotter for the High Point Market going on 7 years. That's right.
Well, I was a style spotter back in 2014.
Okay.
So usually it's just one term,
Okay.
and then after that, I've just been working closely with High Point Market since then. It's my favorite market. I'm there twice a year without fail.
Right.
So I lead the Insiders Tour. I have been leading it for the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 markets,
Okay.
and I'm all about customization.
Right.
And I know that we talked about this.
Right.
I mean, that, as a designer, that's what you want to do. You want to show off all the different things that aren't available
Right.
online.
Right.
And so that's what I do. I lead the Insiders Tour for newbies to market,
Okay.
because High Point is just such a it's such a huge market. I think it's 11.5 million square feet.
Okay.
And for people who are going there for their first time, it's really daunting.
Right.
So we did just a 1-day tour sponsored by High Point,
Okay.
the first day of market, and just show them, the lay of the land.
Right.
So,
And how many designers are a part of that?
I've had in the past as many as 28. And when I've had that many people sign up, I've had to do it over the course of 2 days.
Okay.
But I think now they're limiting it to 1 day, and it's topped at 15. But I've been able to eke a little bit more in there
Right.
because I've done it so many times. I have it down to a science.
Right. Well, and we at Build Lane had talked about being there this spring. Obviously, that's not happening now, and we're looking to the future, but I'll probably be tapping you for some sort of insiders
Okay.
time, how to make my way around.
Definitely, definitely. You do want to go. If you're a designer, if you're in the industry, it really is eye-opening.
I mean,
Yeah.
just seeing the list of lines that are available at High Point tells a
Yep.
story just how big it is.
Yeah.
In 2013, you created your blog, and
Mm-hmm.
I know in your bio you said this sort of it says this is what sort of launched you into this design or influencer space. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would beg to differ and say I think that your network has really launched you there too. I mean, your reputation within the design community is just so incredible. Oh, hi, Darcy. And I mean, everyone I talk to knows you. You've participated as a mentor at some point in their life or as a partner just to help each other out. And I love that mentality that you carry, that like you really are all about community and not competition. And I
Yeah.
think that has just set the stage for you from the beginning to have a really strong position within the design world and a voice at the table. And I know you're really well respected and loved. And I just really appreciate that you're willing to spend your time with me today and with everyone else. Um,
Mm-hmm.
over cocktails.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
we'll kick things off, but I think maybe tell us a little bit about where are you right now and what's going on with your space.
So right now I'm, we had planned to do this at the showcase house, but the Wi-Fi signal and the cellular signal wasn't that great. So
Right.
I ran over here to our showroom. Right now in the back is the empty part of it. We've had this space for the past year and a half, and finally got our building permits. Well, at
Right.
least I was told by the building department that everything's approved, and we're just waiting for the hard copy signatures. But we're going to start, construction here within the next couple
Right.
weeks. And it's an extension of our showroom.
Okay.
We're also partnering with Monogram Appliances, and we're going to put, their LA Experience Center here with 3 great vignettes. And then we're also putting co-working space for interior designers in here.
Very cool.
So,
And
yeah.
I was cracking up while I was getting ready with my cocktail, thinking about the first time we ever talked. You were talking, we were laughing yesterday about how we were having all these tech issues, and you said something that's so true. Like, as designers, you have to know how to pivot, right?
Yep.
That's a part of your craft. And that just really rings true with who you are. The very first call we had, I think your new space had been recently robbed, right?
Yes.
So the space you're in had been, this is maybe a month ago.
This was about 6 weeks ago, right before we
Okay.
went into lockdown. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Gosh. Yeah,
We
we have
were
where we're
we
at.
were burglarized, and
Right.
computer, iPad, all the electronic devices were stolen. And then I told you that the wallpaper that we were just about to install for the showcase house was
Right.
stolen. Of
Right.
all things, wallpaper.
And then on back order, right? So
Well, no, and I called to reorder. It's been discontinued,
right,
and there is no stock available. So of course I had to go jumping through hoops.
right.
And I was able to find a couple of options.
Yeah.
Definitely not friendly with my budget, but as with a showcase house, you can't compromise. And I had to suck it up.
Right. Well,
I
and
had
then so I think you were telling me about the burglary, you were
uh-huh.
telling me about the wallpaper, and then the next thing I know, you say, "Oh, hold on a second, I'm getting in my car." And you go, "Oh, poop. My car won't start." And I thought, and you were just cracking up about everything the whole time, and I thought, she's not said a single swear word yet. She's just been handling this with
Oh,
grace
but I'm
and
thinking
style.
them.
Right. Um, so anyway, again, you have such a huge fan base, and it's obvious as to why. Thanks again for giving us your time today. Why don't we launch into our topic and talk about show
Okay.
houses? I think there's a lot of interest there. There's a lot of kind of behind the scenes that most of us don't know about, and you've been in that world for a long time. I think you said are you either now or you were previously on the board? Is that correct?
No. So I was on the board of ASID Pasadena.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So, no, but when I first started out, I'm so grateful that we have this kind of platform right now,
Yeah.
because 7 years ago when I started this business, Pasadena Showcase House has always been, one of those things that I wanted to achieve, but like, gosh, how am I going to do it? So I started writing a blog. And one of those things was, okay, I'm going to go to the Showcase House as a member of the press to learn the ins and outs of it. So, I couldn't like watch a video
Right.
and join along like this to find out what's going on. So that's what this is, so great technology, modern technology, that we could do this these
Right.
days.
Right.
Yeah.
So why don't do you mind maybe giving us a little background and history on show houses and how this came to be and what the goal, what's the goal with the show house?
Okay. Well, as I said, my main show house here is the Pasadena Showcase House. I've done in High Point, I've done that, as you said, 2 times and going on a third time right now. I've done the High Point show house in a showroom with Alden Parks at High Point Market. That was a couple of years ago, and that's a totally different experience. So with the Showcase House, it's going on its 56th year, and this has been something that I've been attending since I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I didn't think I could ever get there. And so when I finally did, I was like, wow. Finally, I felt like I made it.
Right.
So
Great.
and the first time was 2017.
Okay.
I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what the whole process was. As a matter of fact, I remember calling and trying to find out, calling the Pasadena Showcase House. I'm like, what's the process behind this? I
Right.
didn't know that you had to apply. So it starts in April. I had to apply in October. There's a walkthrough, and you get invited to a walkthrough. Now I think they definitely do recruit designers. They have a list of designers who've attended in the past,
Okay.
and they invite them back to go through the house. And usually the house is it's about at least I'd say 10,000 square feet. This year it's a little bit smaller than that. And unlike other show houses, they have the show house, but then they also have the gardens. And then there is an area where they've got a marketplace. So it has to be at least an acre and a half.
Okay.
It needs to have, I think, at least two staircases. So there's, the flow traffic can go up and then down the other side.
Right. And so
um,
is this actually someone's home, or who is this, someone's private residence, or this is who owns the show house?
So it's usually a private residence.
Okay.
I think, well, last year it was held at Descanso Gardens.
Okay.
They're formerly a private residence, which is now rented out for events. So Descanso Gardens, and I think they've had the the Red Cross House. The Red Cross headquarters in Pasadena, they've had that as well. Really grand estate. I mean, they're usually big
Right,
estates.
right. And
Yeah.
so it's a different home
It's a
there.
different
Okay.
house of every year.
Okay.
There's a committee that goes and scouts these houses around town. And you'd think that with this area where there's so many big older homes that there would be a lot of stock in the market,
Right.
but they're really, people hold on to them. So it's usually when um, you know, a family who's been there for many, many years. The children have grown up. The couple there is alone, and they decide to move out and move maybe to assisted living or something like that.
Right.
Then it's a good opportunity to have the house updated
Okay.
and then made ready to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
And so does the homeowner do they weigh in at all on the design, or is each designer's given a room and then the homeowner just is on board with whatever happens, or what's the relationship with the
So
homeowner?
if there is a homeowner, yes, everything does need to be approved by the homeowner. When it was Descanso Gardens last year, they could do, I think pretty much they could do whatever they wanted to do. They had free
Right, right,
reign to do whatever. Um, but if there's anything that we want to change to the room, we have to present that in an addendum, and then the homeowner agrees. And there may be wallpaper that will go up and they don't like it, and so they say they don't like it, and so your responsibility as the designer is to return it back to its original condition.
wow, okay,
So you have to return it in um, better, or as is or better.
right.
So if
So
that makes sense.
yeah, no, it sounds like there's a lot of responsibility for you as the designer coming in, putting something together, really getting it approved with whomever the homeowner is. And then if they don't like it, you're really still responsible, like you were saying, for getting things back the way they were.
Yes.
Um, I think that's a good segue into going into like what all the layers are in terms of what the designer's responsible for, down to cost and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
before we go there, maybe let's set the stage a little bit. What is it about being a part of a show house what was attractive to you about that as a designer, and what's the benefit to an interior designer in participating?
Oh gosh, there are a lot of benefits. There's the press, the PR. There is the amount of photography that you can get out of it. And I, in the past, have not, taken full advantage of it. Now I know to really, milk it for what it's worth. And then also to gain new clientele as well, especially in this particular showcase house. It is a regional show house, but it also has a certain cachet on that national level because it is the oldest show house in the country, going on 56 years.
Right.
So,
And so there's I think you told me that there's like a press day where everything
yes.
comes out. So your pieces are being shot there's also, it sounds like a real opportunity for the partners that you work with, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
um,
absolutely.
press for the relationships that you build who are also participating, whether that be paint, wallpaper,
Uh-huh.
whatever it may be. So there's like a real community element here and obviously a lot of history. What do you think going into the first year? It sounds like you didn't really know what to expect. What would you say was maybe the most surprising thing that you learned going into your first year?
You know, the process is what I expected it to be. I didn't realize, what a commitment it was, not only financially, but also a big time commitment.
Right,
And it was a time commitment, the design and all the construction and then the installation, but then also the duration of the showcase house. It's four weeks.
wow,
And a lot of people complain, oh, I've heard designers complain that, oh, I haven't gotten business out of it. But then my question is always, well, did you invest the time to be there and market for yourself, market for your sponsors? That's why you're doing it. So it doesn't stop once you're done, you've installed it, you've had opening day, you walk away. No, you've got to be there.
right,
And I think it might be different in some of the other show houses around the country, the ones that are sponsored by, I think Traditional Home. They've done a couple, or actually they've done more than a couple. Kips Bay is also a bit different because designers are flying in from all around the area.
okay,
But in this particular one, I think it's really important for the designer to be there in the room
right,
because the docents are not going to have the passion that you have. They
right,
can't they can't tell the story that
right.
you can tell.
Right, right. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Can you go in a little bit more about what the selection process is like, and do you know kind of what the selection criteria is that the board is using to select designers?
Um, well, every show house is different. For Pasadena Showcase House, their selection process is that designers go through. They walk through the entire house for the walkthrough, and I think you can choose you have four choices, and within this, every year it's been different.
Hmm.
um, this year, I think they gave you 3 or 4 days to put together sketches, drawings, or concept boards, and turn them in.
Okay.
And then you're notified. I think the walkthrough was on a Thursday. You had to have it in 5 p.m. on a Sunday,
Oh,
and they notified everybody on Tuesday.
wow. So it's quick.
And so you're given four choices. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of jockeying on the other end because they have to figure out, okay, this designer is great for this room, but this is their first choice. And then this one, do we give them their second choice or third choice? How do we do that?
Right.
I know I have to admit that the 3 years that I've turned in a submission, I've only given one option. But again, that's me because to me it's all or nothing.
Right.
So I'm going to, I want what I want. So I'm going to, do what I have to get it. And so, I provide full color renderings, whether it
Mhm.
be, hand drawn, hand rendered, or computer rendered. But, just as working with a client, if you can give them those visuals, then, that's half the battle right there, you know?
Right. And so, and I think it's probably best that we just sort of stay in line with just focusing on the Pasadena show house.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like there's a lot of nuance from show house to show house.
Yeah,
But
I mean that's Pasadena, and I know that about a month and a half ago, I was up at in San Francisco for the Design Influencers Conference, and they had a few designers talk about show houses there. Kips Bay was one. I think Young He was talking about Kips Bay and the process there, and I think with them you turn in a portfolio, and it's kind of like the opposite process where you turn in a portfolio of your work, and they say, okay, fine, yeah, we want you, and then you design the room.
right.
Yeah.
And so, how many? So, do you, in terms of selection criteria, do they choose designers that are within that region? So, or can you come in from
I
any?
think it's open. It's open to anybody.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I see designers from all around the area, all around the Los Angeles area. Who has done? And Barclay Butera has done a show,
Right.
a room in the past. I
Mm-hmm.
think that Michael Berman has done it at least a couple of times,
Okay.
if not more than that. So.
And do you
Um,
feel, is it really highly competitive? I mean, how many designers are applying just for the Pasadena show house?
Um, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I'm not privy to that kind of information.
Right. But
I know for the room that we were awarded this year, I know that there were several designers, from what I understand, that did bid for that same room. And I had a specific reason why I bid on that room, because after 2 years ago, when we did construction like crazy, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to do any construction. I really want to be aware of the budget,
right.
really look at it from that point of view. Where am I going to get the most bang for the buck?
Right. And so I think that leads into, I mean, I have this really great list of questions that um, a lot of the audience sent in over the last couple of days. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the questions here, I think, lends to what you were just talking about. What is your design philosophy when you're designing a room for a show house?
So, I say go big or go home. Why are you doing a show house? A show house. It's a show. So you want to put your best foot forward. You want to show what you're capable of doing.
Right.
And that's why, I always try to think outside the box. Pasadena is a different area in that it's a very traditional conservative area.
Mm-hmm.
So, my thought process is that I've got to, satisfy both that older generation, but then also appeal to that younger generation that you want to pull through the house.
Right.
So
You want to do something that's interesting enough that maybe the press will take note,
that too.
and you
Uh-huh.
want to stand out, right? So there's
So
this balancing act.
definitely a balance in appealing to the potential client,
Right.
and then also being different enough that the press is going to look at it and be like, wow.
Right. And how do you, I mean, we can go in, I definitely want to go into some of the expense, especially some things that maybe we don't, maybe designers don't think about prior to launching into something like this. But
Mm-hmm.
how do you personally gauge your return on investment? What are you looking for? And are you really, tracking some metrics there? What's your measurement for success, and how do you know if you've reached
And
it?
I'm probably not tracking the metrics like I should. I know a lot of people measure it by how many projects do you sign on from a results of showcase, and I don't think that it happens overnight. Sometimes it takes a little time. and people save the show house books, they save them.
Mm-hmm.
So and when they're ready to remodel, they'll look and go through, oh yeah, I remember I like that room, and then they'll call up that designer.
Right.
But then you have to also keep your social media consistent, your website consistent, so it's all of those things together.
Right.
So it's not just one thing.
Do you feel that you've really picked up some really great projects the 2 years that you did the show house, or?
I definitely have.
Yeah.
I definitely have. I mean, a new project that we're taking on, they've attended Showcase in the past, and then they said that, what did they say? They said that they went to the Showcase House website to look for, or they went to look for tickets for Showcase, and they came across my website and started digging through. This is a new project in Palm Springs. That's how it came
Cool.
about, and she told me that.
That's cool. I mean, that's
So
easy to measure,
yeah,
right? Really
yeah.
easy to measure.
and
Um,
and and the thing is, you can't always appeal to everyone out there.
right.
As long as you're appealing to your target clientele,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have thick skin. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, sometimes people are rude. And they'll come in, oh, I hate this is awful, the ugliest thing. And and you try to be as gracious as you can
Right.
and say, thanks for your feedback. Actually, I just got a comment on Facebook the other day, someone who said that, and my comment was, thanks, but the client loved it, and this tells her story,
Right.
and in the end, that's all that matters, right?
Right. Right. And haters are gonna hate, right?
Yeah, haters are going to hate.
Right. Um, so in terms of expense, are you as the designer responsible for everything? I mean, obviously product, right? You're responsible for all your furnishings and
Yeah, you're supposed to be responsible for everything.
Mhm.
So you have to give a no cost option. So, but when you have like a kitchen or something like that, you can say, okay, these are the drawings for the no cost option.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, this is what I'd really like to do, but I would like owner participation,
Right.
and this is how much it's going to be. So
Hmm.
and then and the homeowner can kind of figure out the pros and cons of each, and then go from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the homeowner going in? So when you're putting together your presentation and you know that at some point you're going to try to maybe develop a financial partnership with the homeowner to share expenses, are you doing some research about, the homeowner? Are you trying to tailor your design based on what you think their aesthetic is?
No, I mean, in the way I do it, I mean, it's gotta speak my language. Like, the
Right.
design has to speak my language.
Right.
It's got to be a reflection of my design sensibility and my style.
Mhm.
So, but when just like walking into a client's house, when you walk in, you can see their choice in furnishings and
Right.
see their design aesthetic,
Right.
and you can kind of figure things out, you
Right. And
know.
put your signature
Yes.
on that.
Yeah.
Right.
So even with this year's show house, I could tell, okay, this is a very traditional family.
Mhm.
So, and I wanted to put, they had a beautiful wood floor in the breakfast room. And I said, you know what, that would not be fair to me to say, I'm going to take out your, beautiful traditional floor
Right.
and replace that with something that I think is beautiful, but it's modern and it's not going to go.
Right.
So, and this has happened twice where I'm like, I'm going to float it on top of the existing floor.
Right.
And so I can get my design, my point across, and
Right.
then I'll take it with me
Right.
after it's over, and then they've got their floor back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great
So there
idea.
are a lot of little tricks that you can do like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and you seem to know exactly what those little tricks are.
Uh huh.
Um, And then when it comes down to, I saw Christine Jahan. I don't know if you're still on here. Hi, we were talking about you before you joined. I remember in talking with Christine, I said Build Lane was doing this custom console for her for
Mhm.
the Pasadena Show House. And that was really my first experience in sort of backing into some of the guidelines. And I remember her saying, we've got this deadline when furnishings have to be delivered by.
Mhm.
As the designer, are you also responsible for installation costs, or does the show house?
No, we are responsible for all of that.
Wow.
So prior to committing to doing a show house, you definitely have to have all your finances, all your ducks in a row.
Right.
And there will be unexpected costs that come up. But doing a breakfast room as opposed to a full-on kitchen or a bath, I knew that I wasn't going to be running into plumbing and things like that.
Right. Right.
So
Right, which
yeah,
is good to know if you're going to
yeah,
be going into a bathroom or a kitchen, anything with plumbing.
yep.
That is not an unexpected expense you want to discover once you walk.
Plumbing and major electrical and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how sponsorships work.
Okay. Well, I would recommend, really not committing to a show house until your business is well off the ground. You've got your vendors in place, because you're going to have to ask for favors.
Right.
The Pasadena Showcase House does have vendors that they partner up with. Dunn Edwards, they provide the paint every year. They're one of the premium or platinum sponsors. When I did the kitchen a couple of years ago, Ferguson was the appliance and plumbing sponsor for the kitchen. And I'll tell you a little bit about that process. It was a little bit different because I wasn't supposed to do the kitchen that
Okay.
year. I was only supposed to do a teen bedroom and bath. And so I actually, instead of them approaching me, I approached them for the plumbing.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did reach out to some of my vendors. And some they're willing to either donate, loan, or give a sizable discount. Others are not so willing. So,
Mm-hmm.
you have to really, uh, you know, figure things out. I spell it out to them. My general rule with sponsors is I tell them that instead of just reaching out to them and say, hey, I'd like this, I preface my letter to them as, hey, I'm doing a showcase house, this is what I offer,
Right.
inclusion in the show guide with the name of your company.
Mm-hmm.
I do, extensive social media posts. I do a full blog post
Mm-hmm.
with the product. And then us being in the room for a month straight, we're constantly marketing for, it's not just for our own business and our own design projects, but it's also marketing for the sponsors who've made the show house possible.
Right.
So, but that being said, there's no free lunch. So, there's also, there's a price that has to be paid for that.
Right.
So that may be a relationship that you've had for a long time running, or, future business. You need to, give your
Right.
sponsors future business as well.
Right. And then on the flip side too, so when selecting sponsors, I would think you're really trying to get your name in front of a big audience. So do
Yes.
you, when you're looking to your sponsors, I would assume you're probably looking for people that you may have worked with before because it needs to go really well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is there some strategy in partnering with sponsors who have a big audience themselves? And then, I mean, is there some cross promoting? Do you discuss
Yes.
deliverables on both ends before you jump into the relationship?
You know what? Some of those deliverables are written out, but
Mhm.
oftentimes it's just understood.
Right.
And I think that, as a designer, you really have to follow through with all of that, all
Right.
your, all that you've committed to, because otherwise that jeopardizes future business between, future sponsorships,
Right.
um, for designers. So
So
if they
then,
don't feel like they're getting anything out of it, they're not
right.
going to, sponsors are not going to continue
Right.
participating.
Right.
So,
And then when it's all said and done, the homeowner keeps all. Is that
the rule of thumb is like if you were to turn it upside down, anything that's not attached is yours. Or you can actually sell it to the homeowner as well. But like wallpaper, all the plumbing, the appliances, the flooring, if it's really installed, they keep all that.
they keep all of that? So there's
Yes.
not, so show houses aren't necessarily selling um, unattached furnishings. There's no sort of open to the
Well,
public.
they're usually what we do is we put together a list of all the furnishings in the room,
Okay.
and if somebody asks for it, we have a list there. So
Okay.
they can purchase it. Usually, it'd be smart to do it at cost because then, if you can sell it for more, great. But, um, you talk to any designer out there who's done a show house and they've got a storage unit full of old
Right. Right.
showcase house furniture.
Right.
Um,
Memories.
luckily, we've got a store and showroom here, so we can bring it over here
Okay.
and sell it off over here. Yeah.
Um, I know one of the questions that we received was in relation to a kitchen that you did 2 years ago, I believe. Um,
And I think it was a joke question. Yes.
well, so the question is, how fast can you design and execute a show house kitchen? So you said it sounds like maybe the application process starts in October, but then the show house is actually open in April or
So
May.
it opens and photography is usually done like maybe third week in March,
Mm-hmm.
and the house should be done by then.
Oh, wow.
So it's done a full month before it opens to the public, and that's just so that they can get photography and the
Mm-hmm.
show book together. They
Right.
their actual photography into the show book.
Right. So
Yeah.
basically, in 5 months at the
In
most.
5 months. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's quick.
So what that person who was asking that question, what he was referring to was 2 years ago, we were only supposed to do a teen bedroom and bath. And then about 7 weeks before the showcase house was supposed to open, the entire kitchen, butler's pantry, some rooms that even weren't supposed to be demoed, they were demoed. And then I think the designer quit. So they needed a designer quickly.
Right.
And I guess I don't know why, but they knew, like, my design process. I always design in 3D. I provide renderings, and I'll sit down with the client and we'll go through. Hey, you want to see it from this angle? Let's turn it around. Let's go see it from this angle. You want to switch this up? We'll do that.
Right.
So we're very responsive that way, and that
Gary
way,
Roll says that Jeannie saved the day.
sort of. But so that's what we did with, it's funny because press day, sometimes those pictures, even they still pop up. Oh, here's a memory from 2018. And I laugh because press day, everybody came through and there was like a pile of dirt. There's really not a whole lot to look at. And
Wow.
even for the for the show book, you know, they always do photography, and they're like, "Can't you put something together, a vignette of, you know, the cabinetry?" I'm like, we don't have cabinetry yet. Like, I can give you my hand rendering, I can draw it for you, but
Right,
I
right.
can't give you any type of photography.
Wow.
So they finally relented, and allowed me to do a hand rendering. Fortunately, because of my past, past profession in fashion design, I did all my hand renderings before we had computers. Everything was done the old fashioned way. So I do have the ability to do my own hand rendering. So I
Right.
gave them that, and that was submitted
That's
in the book.
yeah. I mean, it goes back to what you're saying, right? Designers pivot. You make it
Yep.
work.
Yep.
Save the day. There's a hashtag starting, it looks like, for you. Hashtag save the day. You know?
And I
Um,
didn't even look at it that way. I mean, I had fun doing it. I think maybe, people are like, "Oh my God, aren't you nervous?" And I think I don't, maybe I didn't know any better. So you just go along with it, and it opened. Opening day, there were a few things that needed to get done that weren't finished. And I knew that I was going to get a lot of flack because of that. So what I did was I printed up pictures of what the room looked like 4 days prior, and then exactly a month before. So, oh my God, this is an unfinished kitchen. The trim isn't on there. I'm like, well, this is what it looked like 4 days ago. And they're
right,
like, oh, okay.
right. All relative.
Yeah.
Um, so I think, and then it sounds like obviously Pasadena Show House is being postponed.
Mhm.
What's the status there? Do we have any real details? What's going on?
I mean, I think like any other business out there, you just have to kind of, it's everybody's taking a wait and see attitude. We don't know, when it's safe to do so. It was postponed from April 20, was it 26th or 24th to June 7th, I think. And then maybe about a week and a half ago, they postponed it indefinitely. I mean, even if it's quote unquote safe to be open, are people really going to want to come out?
Right.
When designers have put in so much money, time, you want to be able to get that return.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, and for that reason, if they need to postpone it however long as they need to, that's what we're going to do. So,
Right.
I mean, an email was sent out, as late as April of 2021 may be the case.
Right.
So, and that gets tricky because, if they're going to do photography now, but, stuff is on loan. I know I've, a lot of my accessories are on loan from replacements in North Carolina. So I know that they don't, I kind of think of myself because, as a showroom and a store, I wouldn't want my inventory, on hold for a full
Right.
year.
Right.
So they wouldn't want that either.
Right.
So,
And then as a
that's
designer, I would assume there's also a little bit of, is that still what you would want to do a year from now? Right.
that's my problem because the thing is, the longer I look at it, I pick it, I'm like, you know what, I'm bored of this, let's change it.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be cool. There's so many things that are going virtual. It seems that there's a real opportunity to maybe take that virtual step or something. I don't know. Are there any conversations about that?
I think there are conversations about doing a virtual tour, and that may be done earlier. But again, I know with, a lot of what I'm doing, it depends on the accessories. It's not
Right.
going to be fully layered without those pieces.
Right.
Um, So, do I want to show, things that I don't want to install right now and have sit for a year?
Right. Do
So,
you and I've kind of gone through, um we've covered a lot of the questions, and even my own at this point. I think we can still take questions from anyone who's still on with us. If you want to submit those, we can talk about those now. In the meantime, maybe we should wet our whistles a
oh
little
yeah, right? Woohoo!
bit. Is there anything you feel like we didn't discuss that, if you were talking to an interior designer who was trying to determine if maybe this was a good fit, is there anything that you think we left off that you wish that you had shared?
No, I think that, during the process, try to provide as much, if, during the vetting process, when you're bidding on a room, try to, I think that, the designers who provide as much information as they can and provide those visuals, they're going to be, in the past it was a little bit different. It was like, oh yeah, do your little, you know, little sketchy sketches, pencil sketches. I think people would like turn them in at the end of the day. They'd have lunch there and then just, draw out their little concept and turn it in. But I think now you really need to provide those visuals.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah. And with, and those, they will get changed. They will get changed. I'll present my initial ideas, and then it's kind of like a sorority rush actually, because they have an informal, they call them informals, where you bring in your boards, your floor plans, all your finishes, and then the committee takes a look at it. They give you feedback, and then you've got your formal presentation
Okay.
where 40 people are there, and you're presenting your concepts and your finishes and everything in front of all those people.
So what kind of, that's interesting to me, the relationship maybe with the committee and you as a designer. I mean, they're
Mhm.
obviously a part of the selection process, but then um, what kind of feedback would you get from the committee in terms of your design that you would go back and make changes and then present again? What's
Sometimes the feedback makes sense. Sometimes I think sometimes, if you don't agree with it, you have to really, have a strong opinion as to why.
Mhm.
You can't just, oh, because,
Right.
um, so fight for it. If you really believe in it, fight for it.
Mhm.
Never take, that's me. I don't, if I don't agree, and I won't take no for an answer.
Right. I believe that to be true in your very
I'm a little
sweet way.
persistent that way.
Yeah.
uh, um, and gosh, what else? I wonder if anybody else has any questions out there.
I saw
Uh,
questions come across, but I think we ended up answering them without even trying.
yeah. Did
Uh,
we talked about sponsors, and and sometimes they won't, I've asked for product, and they won't, um they won't give a discount or loan, or donate. And if I believe that it's the right thing, it's not a problem. I'll say, I'll buy it. I don't have a problem with that. But in my resource list, it is stated that Cozy Style Chic is a resource. They could always buy it
right,
through me. Yeah.
right,
So that's
right.
only fair. I mean, a designer has put in so much, time and money and effort. So, if they're not going to help out, then, why should you, right?
Right. Um,
Yeah.
we did actually just have a question come in from Christine
Okay.
Jahan. Would you ever consider doing a Kip Spay showcase house in another city?
You know what? Right now, I love Kips Bay. I've attended Kips Bay, and it's definitely a show. You know, hundreds of thousands of dollars go into the rooms over there. I know that the talk that I went to a month and a half ago, it was stated that there was $100,000 worth of
Wow.
wallpaper put into one room that was all hand painted.
Wow.
And New York, it's New York. Kips Bay is New York, so the logistics there are a little bit different than here in Pasadena. I mean, I do know New York well because I used to live there. I went to school there twice. I lived there. Um, but it's not as easy as here in Pasadena.
Right.
um, so I would really have to prepare myself for that ahead of time. I would love to. I would definitely love to. I love putting on a show like that, and I wish I could put on more of a show. But I really do have to here in Pasadena. But I do feel I have to be cognizant of the audience.
Right. And I mean,
Yeah,
it's already a lot of time just
yeah,
trying to do it locally. I can assume trying to do something that's at such a different location adds hours and hours and hours and
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of expense. And right.
yeah.
We have another question that came in. How should brands connect with designers? That's a great question. So we've talked about how you can connect with brands.
Hmm.
If there are brands out there looking to partner with designers on a show house, what's the best way to go about that? How do they find you? What does that look like?
Like, so if a brand is looking, I would suggest the brand to contact the show house. And so, with Pasadena, they had, several of the sponsors there during the walkthrough. They set up tables and said, hey, we can provide you with stone, your slabs. We can provide you with antique rugs that, we can loan to you. So you can contact designers too ahead of time and say, hey, we really wanted to, we'd really like to be involved in the show house. Are you considering, you know, uh, doing a showcase house? Because
Right.
we'd love to partner with you. We have this, I feel that we have the same aesthetic. What can we do together?
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. That was a very good
Right.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, and and right now we've got social media, so
Right.
that's another thing. Tag them on social media. You can DM, you know.
Right. Great. I think
So.
there are probably, you might be getting contacted. Watch out.
Yeah, well, I think we're pretty much done for 2020. We'll see about 2021 or if there's a 2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love doing them.
Mhm.
There's just this great camaraderie. Pasadena, they've got all their parties going on.
Right.
They have vendor night, and you get to meet all the vendors, the designers, and you know what? That to me is the most fun party. I mean, they've got opening night and everything, premiere night, but no, the vendor party is just more laid back. You can really walk through the house and
Right.
and and see things at your own pace rather than being rushed through.
Right.
And you can, you meet other people's vendors, and you
Right.
you
It's like
establish those
its own,
relationships there.
right. It's like its own mini market.
Yeah,
Right.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean,
So.
yeah, there's so many layers to the show house that I never considered. I know you've answered a lot of questions with this group, and I think
Mhm.
um, unless we have some more questions coming in, we can start to, maybe wrap things up here. It looks like we have Facebook Live is telling me we have a minute and a half left. I'm not really sure.
So we
I
kind of
guess
like,
there's a cutoff.
we look at that.
But so let me quickly say, we're doing a book giveaway. You're giving away a book, and
Oh, which, you know what? I forgot to bring it with me,
that's
but
okay.
yes, it's
Um,
a fabulous book.
great.
It's is it called Hearth? Is it Hearth?
It's called Heart and Home: Rooms That Tell Stories. It's by Linda O'Keefe. You're going to give a book away. The way to enter into the giveaway is to go to the link in Build Lane's bio. I'm not sure if it's there on your end yet. If it's not, we'll get it there.
I'll get it there.
Okay, the way to enter, go to the link, go to the link in Build Lane's bio or in Jeannie's bio. Build Lane is sponsoring this interview series, and so the way to enter is to go there, create a free designer account with Build Lane. It gives you a chance to check us out, how we're working with interior designers to make the process of designing and sourcing custom furniture really easy. And yeah, we're going to recap this. This is going to be live in our stories for 24 hours. I'm recording it, so we'll share it, and it'll be there forever for those who may have missed the earlier portion. And I feel like there's something that I'm missing.
Well, I know that I have written extensively about, I mean, I have a blog.
Jeannie and I talked beyond the 1 hour that I was unaware of. We just got cut off by Instagram Live, so I hopped back on here again really quickly. If Jeannie hops back on, I can there she is. Let me see if I can bring Jeannie. Can I bring you back on here? We got so chatty. We got cut off by Instagram. That's hilarious to me. Okay, there we go.
Does it always do that? Does it cut off exactly after an hour?
I have no idea. That is really funny. I'm going to go and Google that when we're done. This has just been such a good conversation and so fun. I had no idea that it's been an hour.
Yeah. And hey, if anybody has any questions, DM me via Instagram, not Facebook, because I don't always get those messages on Facebook, but on Instagram, DM me, and I'd be more than happy to share whatever else I know.
Okay. And Gail Davis says we only get 1 hour. Thank you, Gail.
Oh, okay.
I've obviously conferred with you before hopping on. We are going to recap this, though. I know, Jeannie, you've written extensively, you've blogged extensively about benefits of being a part of a show house, the takeaways, what that experience is like. Let's maybe do a Reader's Digest version of that. We'll recap that, and we can share it. I'll share it on Build Lane's social media pages, Facebook and Instagram. Maybe you can share that too, just so that we have some really good easy, clear takeaways for designers who are interested in being a part of a show house. You're obviously a great resource for anyone who wants to reach out. They can do that. We're doing the book giveaway. If you want to enter, go to link in bio, create your free account, your free designer account with Build Lane there. And we will announce the winner on Friday. So I'll leave the link up for a couple of days. This is such a joy. I really appreciate this. I'm looking forward to, I really want to be at the Pasadena Show House whenever it happens. So
definitely. And I think definitely come down for a vendor night. You know, it's a great opportunity for you as a vendor to meet other designers. And like I said, it's more laid back that way.
Great. Yeah, I think that sounds great. What's the best way for those of us who are trying to keep track with what's happening with the Pasadena Show House? Is there?
I guess on social media, if you follow their Instagram feed, which is at Pasadena Showcase House, I think.
Okay.
You can, I think that's what it is. Just keep track there. And then I know that you'll see, as things start ramping up, I know that I post on my feed as well.
Great.
So.
And I'm sure that there are a lot of designers online with us and who have been over the last hour. Maybe they didn't hop back on the second time. But I think also, if you'd be willing, maybe let's work together. And I don't know if you have before and after photos from the 2 years that you designed.
I have lots of before and after, because that's what I do. I'm kind of like a little historian that way. I like to see the before and after, not just my rooms, but other people's rooms, because of writing the blog. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's work together on that. I think we could do a little storytelling with that. I know that's
Yeah.
what you love to do.
Yep.
That's what the book really focuses on that we're giving away. Linda O'Keefe's Heart and Home, Rooms That Tell
Yep.
Stories. Link in bio
And
to register. Go ahead.
I hope that if they can get their Wi-Fi situation hooked up at the home, I would love to do like a little quick guided tour through the home
We
as
would love
well.
that. Let's do that.
So
We'll
yeah.
work on that together. Great.
Okay.
Well, it's
Perfect.
good to see you.
Okay. You too.
Again, have a great day. Have a great week. Stay healthy. Stay
Same.
safe. Everyone, keep a lookout. We're going to post a recap on takeaways on about what it means to be a part of a show house, what those relationships look like. And yeah, be on the lookout with Build Lane's next interview next Tuesday. We'll be meeting with Rebecca from Studio Plume. She just launched a new podcast and is going to tell us how easy it is. Who knew it was easy? But evidently it is. She said so. That. But this has been a great topic. Thank you so much again, and we'll talk again soon.
All right.
Okay. Take
Good
care.
seeing
Bye-bye.
you.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.